Did you want, honestly, Flash to end after 9 seasons? Were you just ready?
Yeah. I mean, I think, to be honest, it was like during 7 and during 8, both those seasons. I was like, maybe this could be the last season. And like there were conversations that went on both.
Were you
seasons.
contracted for more at that time?
No, I think it was, we had the initial 6
and then you added 7.
I think it was 1 at a time after that. And like every year.
Did they ask you, want to do 10?
Uh-huh. Well, I preemptively made like phone calls, like, because again, I had struggled with it for going into 9, because that had also been like, we had stopped for 6 or 7 months because of COVID, and it was the first time that I had stopped and got to be home for a while, and that was before I had kids. But it was just like, obviously I needed the break. Like anyone that does TV for that amount of time, is better than anybody. They're like,
more.
You need a break.
You're the lead. That's tough, man.
I feel like the job that you had too, though, it's like, you were there all the time. Yeah, I've heard you talk about it too with Tom. Where
Tom was there all the time. Yes, I had to shave my head, but
well, and you had to do a lot of the heavy lifting with like dialogue too.
Sometimes,
and Tom would just I've heard you guys talk about it. Like, so I did too with like with Flash. Like I had a lot. I had to do a lot of the talking. On top of like the schedule and the acting and a lot of the characters that we all kind of had to do a lot of talk, because it was like a science show too. So it wasn't an easy lift, like script wise, for any of us. And like the longer it goes on too, creatively, you are like there's certain scenes where you're like white knuckling storylines to be like, how do we make this one work? And like, we've kind of done versions of this 3 times, and
was it frustrating? When you're like, I remember episodes that you're just like, why aren't we doing that? But again, they're doing X amount of episodes a year, and it's so hard. But it's like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's like creatively.
Yeah, I mean, I knew season 1, and I've talked about this, with all the people that work on the show and at like conventions and stuff. Like, it was always going to be a hard show to make work, even for 1 season, because the nature of his powers, like, I should be able to solve whatever our issue is in act 1, like every episode, because he's the fastest man alive and he's genius.
So you have to suspend disbelief.
Yeah, to like, we have to like to stretch storylines and stuff. Yeah, they had to get real creative. So yeah, it was. Having said all that, like I feel like when we talked last, like I was kind of like entering a new phase where I was like getting a lot better at being present, because I didn't know what I was getting into the first handful of seasons. I was 23. I can't imagine. It was really stressful, but I didn't know how stressful it was. And I think I was like suppressing that, and it was manifesting in different ways. And
knocking on wood.
Not that, just kind of being impatient, being like not present, getting
want to get the day done. Let's go.
And like, that's not. And I thought that was part of my job, is like number 1 to like help the day move. But it's like, it wasn't. I wasn't an exec. I wasn't a producer. It's like, my job was to do my character, but also to like set the tone and be a good leader. And I didn't know what that meant for a long time. I was always hear people talk about it.
You're 23.
Right. So
I still don't know what a good leader is.
I mean, I figured out over time what it was for me, and I know now how to go into another job to like being better about it from the onset. So I got better, honestly, at being more present, even as the show at times was like not exactly what I would want it to be. Like, I enjoyed it almost more as it went. Like season 9, I think I haven't watched season 9, frankly. Like, because I don't know that I need to. I kind of got to a point where if something was fun for me, I don't want to watch it and pick myself apart and like pick the show apart and make it a negative experience, because I had a good time.
Yeah.
So like, and I did have a good time with season 9. I knew it was the last season. I had matured, a great deal from where I was at season 1. And I knew how lucky I was to have played the character. I knew I was going to miss it. I even knew I was going to miss stuff that I didn't enjoy when it was happening, like wearing the suit and laying in a puddle in downtown Vancouver at 3 a.m. I was like, I'm going to miss that. And I do. I miss night shoots. Like, I miss having that sense of purpose, even though you're tired, and the camaraderie with the crew and being like, are we going to get it?
I know there's something really fun.
Yeah.
And
it's not fun
family.
while it's happening, but but looking back,
it's easier to go, you know what?
That was cool.
I wish I would have been more like this. I wish these seasons I would have, I
got better at it as I went. Like I know I did. And I know I'll be better going into my next job from the beginning at just kind of knowing like sometimes shit's going to suck. And sometimes the scene's not going to be exactly what you want it to be. Sometimes you're going to have to do a reshoot. Sometimes and it's not anyone's fault.
Be malleable. Be
sometimes it might be somebody's fault.
Sometimes it is somebody's fault.
But sometimes it might be your fault. So just, I don't know. Yeah, you got to be flexible and just like, you might as well enjoy it. And
if they called you and said, hey, we want to do a 10-episode reboot like they're doing now with all these shows. We want to do 10 more episodes. Is that too bad?
Oh, no, that was so hot. I just like went heavy.
Oh, it was
on
hot.
That, like,
still hot.
It's so insulated.
It's insulated.
I was really careful in the last step. Can you see me? I'm like crying.
That was like the new Inside of You tumblers. They keep the heat in.
They keep it warm.